Hello there. Today we'll be discussing a topic based on the old games that were in existence way back in the 90s, partial of the 80s. Yes, we begin with the Super Mario game, as most people who have been playing game during those days. I quite remember my time very well. Those days was hilarious, playing these games for the first time, having to be the, extraordinary feel that one experience having played of TV game before and getting such opportunity to play such a game. It was one of the beautiful moments ever. I quite remember those my time when I used to play this game. My brother was the one having the game, and then he normally, he set up a place where people come to play the games. You pay the money and you play the game. When you are being caught along the line of the gaming, then you pay it for, and then when your money is finished, you just go for the next person to come and play. So this took place in my experience along the line around 95, 96. Yes, I quite remember. I'm sure most people who relate to such will understand how this is. Yes, Super Mario game has been best of my own games, and I love it so much to the extent that I got to know how to play it. Whereby people stopped calling my best name; they were calling me Mario instead. It was crazy. Initially, I didn't like it though, but hey. One funny thing about human, when you begin to call a name that you don't want it, automatically they keep saying it over and over and over till you decide not to say much about it. So that was how it was happening. Like I was saying, don't forget to comment, tell me how your experience were during those days. Your first time of playing Super Mario game, was it Nintendo? Was it the family game? What type of console of Super Mario game you played before? I want you to tell me more in your comment section, and don't forget to share this video as well, and don't also forget to subscribe to this channel. God bless you. Stay entertained and educated. With zone 1 and 2 is mostly the most difficult zone when you are progressing the skills level of knowing how to play the Super Mario games, because zone 1 and 2 you need to go underground. Every stage of zone 1 and 2 has to go underground, and this underground, the moment you descend from the sky going the underground, you'll be meeting three or two, yes, of these animals coming closer, where you have to jump and step on them or jump across them. So if you come in zone 1 and 2 and you're unable to get some food, we used to call it food. There was this part of the zone 1 and 1 where you have to take in some food. When you take in the food, initially you grow you grow in a bit taller. So when you grow a bit taller, what you have to do is you take another different kind of stuff. After the food, the next that you'll be given will be something like some kind of machine gun. That's how we call it gun that time. I didn't really know how in your own area or your community or your country how you call it, but we call it gun. So when you get that, it's more like having a bullet inside of you. So anytime after you've gotten the food, you grow a bit taller, so you become this kind of brownish color. So is it greenish or brownish color? Some kind of way color. So the next thing you will be getting will be something like this gun we call, but it actually is not the physical gun we see. It's more like having a bullet inside of you. So anytime you see any animal on the way, on the pad, the controller, the joystick pad, there is part of key button that you press, then a bullet will come from its mouth and it hits the animal and she dies. So this is how we kill them, to continue to able to complete each and every zone. Yes, like I was saying, it was so much beautiful experience those days, having to play with Super Mario games. It started with one particular game console. We used to call it Mario, or what the name, we used to call it family game. Yes, it was this kind of device that we used to connect the television. In those days, having TV isn't like today when you have to, people now can have even television on their mobile phones, and then having television even on minor devices. Those days, having a television connected to a game console is not that easy. You have to be that kind of a bit financially stable to be able to get these devices together. So I was narrating my own experience. We started with this family game, and I was helping my brother to take care of this gaming center. People come there to pay money and play their own share of the time. When their money finished, they go for the next person to come. So this was happening as time go by. Initially, I didn't really understand how the gaming is until my brother showed me how it's done and all that. And when I began to understand the playing of the game, it got to the time when I got to know how to play pretty well. It was this stages of the game. The initial stage, they call it 1-in-1. In our time, that's how we call it, 1-in-1. And then gradually, before you realize, you play from 1-in-1, you start when the character was this small size. He was moving and then having the animal. This animal coming, approaching, he has to jump across over the animal. If he unfortunately hits the animal without jumping over, if he is in that short size, meaning if he hits himself to any animal, he will get caught, so he'll get killed. And then normally you could have about 5 lives or 3 lives or sometimes 10 lives. So when you are caught for the first time, you are being pardoned to be caught like maybe 2 times. After you being caught 2 times, there's an amount of money you are asked to pay. So this is how the experience has been. It has been the most crazy experience. Sometimes when I sit down trying to remember all those moments, it's one of the beautiful moments ever. Having your first experience to play Super Mario game, it was beautiful experience that you have to go from one zone to another zone, all the way to zone 8, I guess. Yes, you have to go from 1-in-1, zone 1. If you're able to clear all the zone 1, when you're about to end zone 1, there is steps you need to climb. And when you get to the last part of the steps, just like climbing a mountain, when you get to the last part of the steps, you need to jump over one pole with a flag on it. So before you jump over the pole to hold on the pole with a flag on it, sometimes there is timing you need to check. As you're playing, there's a timing along the line as you're playing. So when the timing is within either 3, 6, or 9, or 1, it has these numbers: 1, 3, 6, 9. So if you jump to hold on the flag of the pole and the time is exactly on 1, meaning after you are done entering in the house, ending the zone 1, there will be this sound of some kind of firecracker that will explode in the sky once. That is if you caught the flag when the time is 1. Similarly, if you jump holding the pole with the flag and the time is on exactly 3, meaning as you enter in the house, ending the zone 1, you have this kind of a firecracker explosion in the sky that will blow 3 times. So this was the fun time those days, and we really enjoyed it. So when you're done with the first zone 1-in-1, you go to zone 1-in-2. The zone 1-in-2 is the most exciting zone. You cannot wait to see all this. So just like I was saying, Super Mario game has been one of the games that I really love. Those days, Super Mario game has been one of the adventure games that people really love it very, very much. Well, they were added games, but Super Mario game was the initial one that came to my community first. That was way back 95, like I was saying. And then in my community, that was way back in Ashanti region, Kumasi. I was in the community, this kind of community where, game lovers were there. It was so good. And then, I can't, forget to say more about the interesting part of the people who are learning how to play it, their experience along the line, the funny aspect of along the line. Before I continue with the full episode of how the game was played, someone could come as he's holding the game pad. Those days the game pad was this, lightweighted plastic, controller. So as the person is holding the controller, the joystick pad, on the left side of your hand, your left hand and your left thumb is pointing at this arrow showing up, down, back and forward. So we are supposed to use that thumb of the left hand to be controlling the forward as moving forward, backwards, moving backwards, pressing down, going down, and pressing up and moving to the up, top side of the place. So in those cases, when you press the forward hold, the Mario character will start be moving. And on the right hand side, we have, based on the type of the gamepad the person will be using, they may be having A, B, C, D. Was it that way? Yes, I think A, B and X, Y, and A, B, something like that. It's been ages. 95 is not today. It's been a very long time. So when the person presses the forward, holding the forward arrow with the left thumb, so as he's moving and when he get close to the animal character, instead of pressing on the right hand of the joystick to press letter A or B, I think it's A to jump, he will forget, automatically. He may think of lifting up the joystick pad will allow the Mario character to jump, which isn't so. So you end up pulling off the joystick pad. It's so funny, man. So those were the beautiful moments. We cannot forget to talk about this. I don't want to, stress more on this conversation. I would love for you to take some of these pictures as it's showing on the screen and then tell me your comments, tell me your experience those days, how you used to make this happen. And I can't wait to get more of your experience. And then don't forget also to subscribe to my channel, and then also you can leave your comments. Tell me how your experience was during those days. Very soon I'll be showing a visual, so that I'll be showing how it was played and all that. There's so much to talk about Super Mario games. Those days Super Mario games has been my best of all games.